The first duty of government is to protect our rights.
It's our job to maintain the proper role of government in what we were tasked to do.
In the Idaho Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, we have a right to life, we have a right to defend life.
This legislation is centered on meeting the needs of Idaho families.
And we have no way to maintain control over the spending of this program, and it will be a disaster for this state long term.
But we have a whole gamut of kids whose parents would like to do something for them and they cannot.
The courts have long held that our ability to transfer title on real property benefits society as a whole.
This is simply about putting it out of reach of young, innocent, vulnerable children and making our libraries and schools a safe place for them to go.
And I am increasingly frustrated that we cannot stop ourselves from drinking at the public trough.
He's sounding the alarm. He's saying if we don't address these issues, we potentially might have greater problems moving forward.
I feel like we're back to an unappointed board that gets to decide who is essential and who is non-essential.
If I was looking at a business and I was looking at these figures, there would be heads rolling because this is unsustainable.
We're supposed to be bottom-up government. We're supposed to be representing my citizens' ideas and your citizens' ideas, and we're supposed to be discussing them and debating them to come to a conclusion.
And for me, it's about a couple things. It's about food security, it's about national security, and it's about preserving American exceptionalism.
The First Amendment and our freedom of religion, freedom of speech are our first liberties. They are so important. We don't have the rest without them.
The JFAC hijack. That is what is happening this morning in JFAC. Some folks in there performed a coup today. They essentially motioned their way back to the old way of doing things. One by one, bill by bill, they started to add all those maintenance dollars back into these individual budgets, lumping them all together with all the pork, all the pet projects, all the things that they want. This is the Boise swamp fighting back. They cannot seem to stop themselves from drinking from the public trough. Welcome, everybody. This is the Idaho Signal. It is January 2nd, 2024, and if it does feel like Groundhog Day, it is, because we are back to the old way of doing things, apparently. The establishment folks are teaming up with the Democrats to essentially try to torpedo the transparency process that the co-chairs of JFAC, Senator Groh and Representative Wendy Horman, came up with in an effort to bring transparency to the budget process and in an effort to bring efficiency to the budget process. They are being torpedoed. It is a hijack of epic proportions by the establishment. What we saw when we opened with here was how they did it. And let's bring up that graphic again. What you can see here, this looks like an antiquated voting system, but this is how they track the votes. And what they are doing is they are essentially going over these smaller budgets for each one of these committees, these commissions, these departments, all throughout the government. And so they'll be going through this for a couple of weeks. And what they're doing here is the budget's being brought up for consideration, and the establishment is making motions. They're making motions to add. How much money are they adding in this particular one? They're adding an additional $40 million or so to this budget to cover maintenance, and so that would be the motion. And then a substitute motion made by our good folks are to revert back to the small budget for this particular department, and allow the maintenance budgets that have been now waiting 17 days to get passed to just go back to that. And then what you see here is the they vote down this second motion, then they vote to pass the first motion, and that's how the swamp gets their way. Motion by motion, I said. Motion by motion, bill by bill, the swamp is fighting back. Folks, this is unbelievable. I mean, it's not believable that they'd be fighting back, but this is catching folks off guard here, and we need folks to rally. We need you to get the battle going. So let's do this. Let's call up Speaker Moyle, who is the Speaker of the House, and let's get these maintenance budgets before the House. Let's show everybody that we mean business. The conservatives need to get together. The folks who are for fiscal transparency need to get together. And we need to contact the Moyle. You can see the number on your screen. We need to get that going. This is all hands on deck here. You need to call up the Speaker of the House and get it going. I'm amazed at what is happening here, because our folks just definitely need to rally. So, okay, I want to take a minute here to kind of just re-engage and go over exactly what is happening here, for those who haven't been paying attention. For the past week or so, it appears that the folks are now teaming up with the Democrats. They went back to the Legislative Services Office and they started drafting these new bills, these new budgets, to try and bring to JFAC on Friday, and to allow them to get before the committee where they can make these motions and have their numbers ready to be able to make the motions to put these budget numbers into this system. I know it sounds complicated. We've got folks on the line. There's the Senate is still in session. Do we have a live shot of the Senate? We can see what's going on there. We're hoping to have some folks, some senators from JFAC come on to help explain this process that's going on. But folks, we need you to be on the ball and contacting Speaker Moyle, because Speaker Moyle is one of the more conservative speakers that Idaho has seen in a while, and he needs to get these bills in front of the floor. So let's do this immediately. Let's get you on the phone and do this immediately. I have the phone is ringing here, so let's take a quick break. I'm gonna get the bearings here, because I got the phone's blowing up and we need to get these people on the line. So we will get that to you. We'll be right back.
There's a saying in Idaho, Esto perpetua. It is forever. But the truth is, nothing lasts forever. Not without a fight. The Gem State is ours to fight for. It is ours to win. For life and liberty, for honesty and integrity. We ride together.
All right, folks, lest you forget, when we went to break there, you saw our call out to contact Representative Julie Yamamoto for her abhorrent vote yesterday, or the day before, on House Bill 415 that passed, that will help defend our children and school staff by allowing enhanced permit carriers, enhanced carry permit holders to carry firearms on campus. So we are not letting up. She signed a pledge that said that she would support to protect our right to self-defense, and she's failing in that aspect. And so while at the same time saving her own butt by carrying firearms herself. So we're calling her out. We're calling her out on that. So you need to call that number that was on that screen earlier and let her know how you feel. You also, folks, you got to get those dialing. You got to get those digits dialing. It's been 17 days since this new budget process passed, and these bills are sitting. They were read across the floor. They're on the reading calendars, and they are going to be voted upon. Meanwhile, the swamp is back in JFAC this morning, trying to hijack the entire system and try to go back to the old ways. And that's just not going to happen. So we've got some folks who are hopefully coming in today to give us an update from their perspective. We're just letting the dust settle a little bit as all this stuff goes on. So I'm going to make sure that that you guys are fully aware of what's going on. For those, let's bring up the graphic of the budget of the we had this is an example, okay, and we're going to go into these. I'm not diving into these numbers, and you're looking at this and you're probably thinking, I'm out of here. But I want you to see something that's really super clear. This is just an example of what Representative Wendy Horman and Senator Scott Groh worked on over the year. Okay, this is going to simplify the process for budgets. Okay. And this is what they came up with. On the right hand of your screen is what they are calling the statewide maintenance. Okay. This here lays out all of the basic dollars needed to operate this particular department. This is the Department of Administration. This side here shows everything that it would be needed to just maintain this department. And yeah, you can go ahead and drop the logos down there so we can see this whole thing. You can see how it totals out at the bottom, and this is the column. Yeah, right there. So 31.4 million. This is what the basic dollars are needed to run this department. The other two columns, you see agency request and governor's request. The agency themselves, which is on the second to left column there, the agency request column, these are all of the things that they are requesting from the government, from you to fund. Okay? And so if you look at those columns, there's dollar amounts in there that they are requesting, and then you can look in the purple box on the side to see where they're looking. We don't need to look at that right now. I just want you to see how they've broken this out. Okay, this is the agency request. They are requesting a total, if you go all the way down to the bottom, of $216 million down at the bottom. The governor is looking at this department. That's the middle column. The governor and his executive office is looking at the middle column. And this is where they are making their requests for this particular administration, for this department. And so if you look down, they have a different total down at the bottom, 211 million. Okay. These two different requests are on top of the 31 million that is needed to just make this department function, to put gas in the car so it can go out on the road and go to work. Okay. This is the gas. The statewide maintenance is the gas in the car to go. The agency request and the governor's request are all the other flair, all the other things to enhance the vehicle, if you will. Okay. They want to enhance the vehicle. Maybe some of it, maybe it needs a new engine, which could be completely reasonable. Maybe they just want a new paint job. Maybe they want to convert the car from a standard to a convertible, right? They want to take the top off. Maybe they want to add a trailer onto the back of it. Okay, there's all sorts of different requests. Maybe they want an extra steering wheel so they can have 15 drivers instead of one driver. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. The agency and the governor's requests are what they want to build upon to expand this particular department. And there's a chart of this for every single department, every single budget. Okay, you can come back to me now. So by looking at this, I want you to see that what was passed 17 days ago, were the maintenance budget bills. This will allow you to put gas on the car and drive to work. Okay? All the other extra stuff can be debated throughout the session, as it should be when you're a fiscally responsible legislator. Okay? What happened today was a hijacking where these folks teamed up with the establishment swamp, teamed up with the Democrats to essentially say, we don't want those maintenance budgets. We don't want this new process anymore. We're going to cherry pick all of the things that the agency wants and the governor's wants, or we'll take everything that they want, and we are going to pack it into these bills, and we're going to add the maintenance bills, and we're going to do it motion by motion by motion. So every time a bill came up this morning in JFAC, there was made a motion to include the gas money, if you will. And then everybody has to vote on it up or down. They couldn't sit there and go to the floor and debate these little things and then send it back and hold us hostage. We're basically going back to the exact same way. They do not want to change. They do not want to change anything. And if we are going to have transparency in our government, if we're going to have fiscal responsibility in our government, then we need to change. And it needs to happen today, and it needs to happen now. So hopefully I'm explaining that. This morning, Representative Heather Scott was learning about this, and she went live herself and delivered this message.
Representative Heather Scott from District 2, and I'm here at the Capitol. It is Friday morning. We're getting ready to go into session, and I just wanted to report something that happened today in JFAC. Right behind me, you can see their meeting right there, and what they're doing today is Democrats are teaming with the liberal rhinos to change our budget process. We've been working on ways to make it more transparent, and today when some people are out of town or left early or out sick, they've got a new plan in order to continue to grow government at your expense. So when your taxes go up and things are high, you can thank the people in this committee, the liberal Republicans that are teaming with Democrats to be less transparent in our budgeting process.
All right, there's Heather going live, trying to help get the word out there. It's never going to be easy. This shouldn't be easy. And when the swamp is fighting, and it's incredible. It's incredible. Okay. All of the representatives and senators right now in the legislature, they're in their caucus meeting right now, and so depending upon how long this goes, we may not be able to get them live on the air today, but we will get some statements from them and we will get them going. So. We should have. We know that. Look, we should have expected this. We know that this is going to be a big deal this year because there were so many things that were overturned in the last session because of the last election, and we have new blood. We have new blood in the legislature. We have new leadership everywhere, and this is the path that we knew we were going to be on. So, but that doesn't mean that you lay down. You got to stand up and you got to fight. And I'm reminded once again of the film The Goonies, and when the establishment was coming in, buying up the town and gonna kick everybody out, that the Goonies took it upon themselves to go out there and fight. But the real takeaway, and I want to show this Goonies clip again. The real takeaway from this is when is when Mikey says, you know, Goonies never say die. And then Andy, the cheerleader, she says, I'm not a Goonie. But she is a Goonie. She's down there with the Goonies. And either she rides back up that bucket and sits with the establishment again, or she fights. And there's a lot of folks that are in the legislature that are in her position, and they don't know which way to go. Do they go up the bucket and find the comfort of the establishment? Let's watch this.
Don't you guys see? Don't you realize? He was a pro. He never made it this far. Look how far we've come. We've got a chance.
Chance at what, Mikey? Getting killed? Look, if we keep going, someone's really gonna get hurt. Maybe dead. Besides, we gotta get to the police.
Maybe Chunk already got to the police.
Maybe Chunk is dead.
Don't say that. Never say that. Goonies never say die.
I'm not a Goonie. I want to go home.
Forgot. But still, don't you realize? The next time you see Sky, it'll be over another town. The next time you take a test, it'll be in some other school. Our parents, they want the best of stuff for us. But right now they gotta do what's right for them, because it's their time.
Yeah, it's their time. That's what they're doing. What they're doing, what they need to do for them. That's what they're doing up there. So, okay. Folks, let's put that Mike Moyle number up there, because I don't know. I don't know if Mike Moyle, if Speaker Moyle is in the cheerleader position, in the Andy position. I don't know what's going on there, but I know they're in a caucus right now. They're meeting. All the folks are meeting together, and maybe they're hashing it out and trying to figure out what's going on. But we are out here raising hell as well. So there is Speaker Moyle's phone number. We want to get an up or down vote on these maintenance budgets. And if these budgets that passed JFAC this morning, if these budgets have to go for an up or down vote too, then let's do it. Let's have this debate out in the open. That is what we are asking for. That is what we are asking for. All of the things that are happening behind the scenes, and the people are out here trying to help, trying to keep track of our representatives and what they're doing. So, okay, it looks like, do we have Representative Tanner with us? Let's bring him on. Let's see if we can get him. Representative Tanner, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Okay. Mr. JFAC himself, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. What is going on this morning?
Chaos, I would say. We were kind of lambasted, surprised by the enemy, I guess you would call them at this point in time. We had kind of an understanding that we were going to be working these maintenance type budgets, and that's kind of where the committee was at. The budgets have been read across the House and Senate floor at this point, but so we finally were able to get our CEC motions done as of yesterday. And today we were expecting to finally get back to setting budgets. So we came in expecting to set budgets based on the maintenance budget and the additional items going forward. And where you saw Republicans working with Democrats coming up with a base budget. So it's going to be going back to the exact way we actually did it the previous year, and removing that base budget option. In my opinion, I think a lot of this has to do with what these additional budgets would look like versus a maintenance budget. So if the maintenance budgets were to stay in place and these additional budgets were to go, they're nervous if they'll make it through the House and the Senate floor. And I would agree with them. I think that there are going to be some pushback. It gives the body a lot more ability to go through and line item and cut some of that stuff back without cutting the agency's funding altogether. You can be more selective on what the body sees as necessary or not necessary for the state of Idaho and where we want to spend our money. So gave a lot more transparency, which I think there's lot of people out there that don't want transparency within government, that it makes them extremely nervous. And so we saw that today in committee, where several of the representatives, Republican representatives, partnered with the Democrats and kind of overran the show.
Yeah, I mean, I just when I got word this morning that this was going on, I part of me wasn't surprised, but I just I'm not fully aware of all the tactics and everything. But you guys, it sounds like you guys were caught off guard here a little bit. So I noticed there wasn't much debate going on, because you really kind of probably read the tea leaves and knew what was happening. And, maybe you were going to hash it out later on in your own caucus, or deal with it when it hits the floor. But do you get a sense now that maybe we will see your original maintenance budgets come to the floor and these new budgets come to the floor? Or is there still something that you can do, or that we can rally the people to help do here? What do you think? You think we'll see both of these?
I think as of right now, we have the maintenance budgets that have been right across the House floor. So those ones are there. These budgets that were just passed as of today, the budgets that I voted against, will be put together, will be transmitted over to the House as well as to the Senate, and then it becomes up to the Speaker and the pro temp of what they want to do with those particular budgets. They do have options. They can send them back to a different committee to be held. They can hold them there. That is their power to be able to do. And the tough thing is once our body, once JFAC actually approves those, they would immediately go to the committee chairs. The co-chairs can't actually hold those in our committee. They have to be transmitted through. So realistically, it's going to be a lot up to the Speaker and the pro temp of what's going to actually happen at this point in time. And then there potentially could be where we approve these maintenance budgets, and then these other budgets come through, and we kill them within committee or within the floor. And that to me would be the hope, that the body actually sees this value in the maintenance budgets and votes these base budgets that are coming through down, and sends it back to the committee and says, no, we do not want that. We actually really want to see these maintenance budgets. We think this is an important aspect for the citizens of the state of Idaho, as well as the transparency to those citizens.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to the actual, if these bills start getting debated or they get sent back, I mean, let me back up, I guess. The bills that came, the budgets that came across your committee today, did those contain items that normally you guys would have negotiated or tried to reduce or expand or whatever it is? Were those budgets what you were hoping to sit there and negotiate on like you originally intended?
So yes, normally if we would have been dealing with the base budgets like those ones that came forward, we would have actually been working on alternate budgets for that base budget. We were unaware of that they were even coming. So most everybody found out early the first thing this morning that these were coming. I think I left the Capitol it was until after 5 last night, and it seemed like that was not going to happen. We were going to go forward. For me, I was trying not to go blow things up out of the water, to go start going through these maintenance budgets, add-ons budgets that would be sending through. So we were just trying to get the process moving, so we can actually start voting and start working on a lot of other budgets. There's a lot of budgets that we still have left to come, a lot of big budgets. A lot of the budgets that we saw today didn't have a lot of line items on there. It didn't have a lot of kind of extra stuff in them. These were pretty basic budgets. There were a few that had some stuff that I would have liked to seen probably not in there. But if we would have been back, if we knew we were going to go back the old way, then yes, we would have seen some cuts, at least some options for some cuts within those.
Okay. All right. So then let me ask you this. This is the hard question, and I understand if you don't want to name names here, but who's behind this? I mean, someone had to have been working on this, the past week or so. I mean, you guys passed these budgets 17 days ago. We got a counter on the screen. We're letting people know how long those maintenance budgets have been passed through your committee. But somebody had to have been working on this behind the scenes. And I noticed that when these motions came up, they had their figures ready. They had everything ready to go.
I think that is the big question. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out if it is coming from potential leadership, from sub-factions of leadership, or are these coming from groups of people within the committee itself? I think it's debatable. It may be a mixture of both. I honestly don't know. And I think a lot of people are digging, trying to find out who it is. I don't believe it is Mike Moyle or Chuck Winder, even though I think they are the head of the spear per se, and the ones we're looking to lead us through this. But I don't believe they, with talking with both of them, I don't believe they are the ones working this. So besides that, I really don't know. I wish I did know exactly who I could, and we might be a little easier to deal with if we knew exactly who was the one working this. So
right. Well, fair enough. And we'll snoop around a bit more ourselves and see if we can find out who the culprits are here.
Well, let me know.
Yeah, but the main thing is that we need to make sure that Speaker Moyle knows that we have his back if he wants to bring these original maintenance bills forward and continue on with transparency. We're mobilizing folks to make sure that we've got his back, and that if anybody else who is not necessarily speaking out like you are, to know that the people are behind them. And so if members of your caucus are upset behind the scenes, then you need to let them know that we've got their back, and we want Speaker Moyle to do the right thing. So Representative Tanner, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time. Anything else that any place we can follow you or keep in touch with you? You want to share how people can help support you specifically?
I think just continue to reach out to the members on JFAC. I think emailing everyone on that committee and letting them know the will, so they know the will of the people. I think that is probably one of the best things. If somebody wants to sign up, they can always go on to the legislative site, sign up to our newsletters. But don't only sign up for mine, sign up for as many representatives as you can, so you can get an idea and figure out where their positions are at, and then if you support their positions or not.
Great. All right, Representative Tanner, thank you again for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All Idaho lawmakers swear an oath to support the Idaho and U.S. constitutions. But how's that working out for you? Because not all Idaho lawmakers share the same values. That's where the Citizens Alliance of Idaho pledge comes in. 10 statements inspired by those two founding documents that are designed to preserve our shared values. Values such as education freedom, safeguarding free speech, defending our protected right to self-defense, and being responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars. When a lawmaker signs the pledge, they are performing an act of political courage, accepting the challenge to be a champion for our values, and serving with political integrity. To find out if your lawmaker signed the pledge, visit idahopledge.com. Paid for by Citizens Alliance of Idaho. We ride together.
All right, folks, it's Groundhog Day once again, and the swamp is fighting back. They're trying to bring us back to how it always happens. You wake up, the swamp is fighting, they're spending your money, they're expanding government over and over and over again. It's Bill Murray would be proud today. Or maybe not. I'm trying to remember the scenario of that film. I know he was hating life, but then everything turned around at the end. It was a good Groundhog Day for him in the end, but because they learned their lessons. But maybe we need to put these folks through the ringer like that. Anyway, okay. Thanks to Representative Josh Tanner. He sits on JFAC. He is District 14, I believe, out in Ada County, Canyon County, those parts. Where is that? 14. I don't know. I got my maps around here somewhere. But anyway, we thank Representative Josh Tanner for giving us the insight there. And we got to find out who these folks are that are pulling the strings back there. You don't just show up on a Friday morning where the co-chair, Representative Wendy Horman, was not there today. Apparently she's out sick, so we hope it's not too bad. We hope maybe it's just a cold or a little flu or something. She'll get over it over the weekend. But Fridays is usually when they do this kind of stuff, because some people leave town early. They want to adjourn early so they can get back to their homes. You know, the Capitol's in Boise, and a lot of these folks, they drive in. If they're in the east, they got to drive four hours or so to go back home on the weekends if they do go home. And then if you live up north, you're driving 8 hours, or you're trying to catch a flight to get back home for the weekend. Some do stick around all throughout the session, and they just move into a place down there at their own expense, however that works. I'm sure there's some sort of stipend, but at the same time, the idea is that Fridays is when the bloodbaths happen. Okay, and this today was a coup. It was a hijack of JFAC by whatever faction is out there. You can look at the votes and see who's voting with and against this process, because remember, when these maintenance bills left committee 17 days ago, every single Republican voted for it. They were all on board with this process. The Democrats weren't, but all the Republicans were. Now, 17 days later, they show up and they start thinking, most of these folks thinking that they're just going to be negotiating and working on these smaller budgets, or working on these individual budgets. And all of a sudden, motions start happening where they're putting maintenance money back into the bills, and essentially looking to squash and make those original maintenance bills moot. So this is an incredible day to watch as the swamp comes in. It looks like we got Maria Nate, who's popped in here. I'd like to get her take on it. She's definitely been paying attention to this. Maria, how are you? What is going on today?
Well, you're seeing the swamp creatures rise. You need to understand that all of this was done under cover of darkness here. They went behind both chairs' backs and put these budgets together without them knowing, and they basically just hijacked the committee. So yeah, this is some bad. This is bad for Idaho today. Very bad.
Yeah, it really is. And when you say they went behind the co-chairs, it's hard to sit back and watch this happening and then see Senator Scott Grow, the co-chair of JFAC, allow this to happen. But I'm not quite sure there was much that he could do that wouldn't have just, prolonged or postponed the inevitable. We might as well just let it all happen now so that everybody watching can react. But do you think, where do you think they're sitting right now? Were they just as shell shocked? He seemed to be okay, by casually going through the motions.
Yeah, well, I think that they knew that they didn't have the votes. And the other thing that I find really disgusting is that they did this when the other co-chair was gone, when Wendy Horman has been very sick for the last few days, and they went ahead and undermined all the work that she's been doing. So maybe Grow just saw the writing on the wall, and at that point, what can you do? He's facilitating the work of the committee. Do I wish that he would have said something? Yes. But I don't know. I didn't get wind of this until just a few minutes before JFAC started. Wow. And so they have clearly been working on this. This explains why they let those maintenance budgets go across the floor, because they had this plan all along. So I was never willing to take a victory lap, because I didn't.
You can't
believe it until the votes go down, right?
That's so true. You cannot give them, and you can say, hey, things look like they're going well, but you got to stay on guard and you got to keep going. Mm-hmm. And the idea that they're using motion after motion to just put all this money. We had one of the votes up on the screen. You can see that the original motion was to pass a budget that was like $74,000, and then the next budget was no, we want it to be $34,074,000. And just okay. So what do you think is? What's the next step here? It sounds like we just had Representative Tanner on, and he said, there's a lot of budgets to come. There's a lot to go through. When they come back next week, everybody knows, the kimonos are open. Everybody knows where everybody's standing now. And you have the votes to see it too. You had Representative Miller, you had Representative Lambert and Tanner and all down the line voting no on this, going back to the old ways. Same thing on the Senate side. So everybody kind of knows where everybody's standing. I know they just had a caucus and they probably hashed out some stuff there perhaps, but what do we expect? What's the fight going to look like next week?
Nuclear war.
Yeah.
I mean, burn it down, scorched earth. Lines are being drawn right here. The message needs to get out that you have this Main Street caucus who can only do this because they team with the Democrats. So let's just think about for a second. That means the Democrats are running the Idaho legislature right now because the Main Street caucus has to go to them to pull them to their side. And I'm telling you right now, there is vote trading going on like crazy. Kevin Cook, I'm just going to call that dude out. He is trading his soul, his votes, everything. He has a terrible cell phone bill that he has been trying to get passed, and he is trading everything to get that bill across the floor. He allowed Melissa Wintrow to introduce that contraception bill, which has died every time. He gave her a hearing for that ridiculous bill, but they won't give Freedom Caucus members hearings on any of their bills. So, yeah, who's running the show here?
Yeah, it's clear. I mean, when as you said, the Main Street caucus is caucusing with the Democrats, and all they want to do is spend money. I mean, that makes sense. That's the Democrats' MO. So this is no surprise. But this vote trading that you're saying, I mean, this answers a lot of questions of why we haven't seen the library bill yet. Why bills are getting pulled from. The bill on the Blaine Amendment, repealing the Blaine Amendment, that's being held, but for what purpose? It's not that it needs to be rewritten. It's a resolution that's going to the people. So you can just see that certain bills and holding bills on calendars. I'm shocked that 415 went through the teacher carry bill. I'm shocked.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know which deal. Maybe that was the deal to allow for the JFAC thing today. Who knows? But this is the kind of insider baseball stuff that we're getting lost in. But this is the stuff. This just proves that the swamp is alive and well in Boise, that there is a Boise swamp here, and we're watching these shenanigans go. So Maria, tell me, do we have Speaker Moyle? I mean, he needs motivation here. He's a conservative guy. He needs motivation. He needs to do the right thing. And I'm sure that there's plenty of other conservatives that are not so vocal, like the Freedom Caucus is, that are trying to rally and do the right thing. So we're trying to get people to contact Speaker Moyle. Is that what we need?
What I want you to do is contact Speaker Moyle and tell him to stay strong and that we support him. We support you, Speaker Moyle. We got your back. Do the right thing. We're behind you all the way. And then you need to go blow up Chuck Winder, because this is a House versus Senate little battle going on. The Senate is trying desperately to control this process because they want to control the Senate. They know that they're right on the edge of losing Senate leadership. And so everything is about the next election. That's what's going on right now. Everybody is looking to the next election. So Moyle, we support you. We got you. You know what you need to do, and we are there for you. Winder, we're coming for you.
Well put. Okay, Maria, what else can we do to help you guys? Where can we follow you? What can we keep tabs on?
Just go follow our Twitter. It's Freedom Caucus ID. Follow us on Facebook. Get on our Substack, IdahoFreedomCaucus.substack.com. We're tweeting about this. We're posting about it. Go find our members. Follow them. Lenny is doing a great job. Herndon's doing a great job. Follow you. Follow John Haida. Follow Think Liberty. We are getting the message out to the people, but it's going to take all hands on deck. We don't have the money like they do, but we have the people. So get out there, people, and get off the couch, get on your phones, get to Boise. There's a lot at stake here. I don't think people understand. We are on the precipice of turning into Colorado. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not good at all. Okay, Maria Nade, Executive Director of the Idaho Freedom Caucus, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a good weekend.
We're going to be fighting all weekend. There's no rest. No rest.
All right, good. Good warriors. Good warriors. Thank you, Maria. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, folks. Okay. You heard it. That is incredible. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back.
There's a saying in Idaho, Esto perpetua. It is forever. But the truth is, nothing lasts forever. Not without a fight. The Gem State is ours to fight for. It is ours to win. For life and liberty. For honesty and integrity. We ride together.
All right, folks, welcome back. For those just joining us and wondering what the heck is going on, we just had Maria Nate on. We had Representative Tanner on. There was a hijack in JFAC today, a full-on coup happening with members of the Main Street Caucus teaming up with the Democrats. And you can just look at the vote totals that were going on there if you want to know. The lines are being drawn, as Ms. Nate said there earlier. The lines are being drawn. Here is what happened. 17 days ago, you can see the counter right here. 17 days ago, the JFAC, the Joint Finance Appropriation Committee, passed the maintenance budgets. They have been read across the floor. They have bill numbers. They are online for you to read. These budgets essentially are the gas needed, the gas money needed to make all the departments of government run. Okay? This is the basic function. What was going on today was the next process, which would then be to pass the line item budgets for all of the requests from the agency and the governor, all of the little details that go on to the car, that you may want to modify the car. Maybe the car needs a new engine. Maybe it needs a new seat. Maybe someone's looking for a hard top instead of a convertible. Maybe they want to add a trailer or get a new paint job or put in a new stereo. All of the things, you know, and I hope you're following along with the metaphors here and the analogies. But all of the things that the agency or the government wants, that is what was going to be negotiated and worked on throughout JFAC. But instead, the establishment teamed up with the Democrats to make motion after motion this morning to put the money back, to put all of the maintenance money back into these budgets, to have these bloated budgets and then get pushed through the committee. These budgets did not pass with they did not pass on party lines. Okay, there were Democrats teaming with Republicans to pass these budgets, and your fiscally conservative, your champions of liberty, your champions of transparency voted against this process because this is the old way. This is the swamp way. Okay, and that's what was going on this morning. So Representative Tanner was on talking about how much this took them by surprise. Senator Scott Grow and Representative Wendy Horman, who wasn't there today. So to do this when the co-chair isn't there was telling. But they were all surprised by this because some folks on JFAC apparently went and worked with the budgeting offices to sit there and come up with these new budgets and come up with these new numbers, where they sat there and motion after motion, bill after bill, they changed all the budgets again. Okay. There is much for you to do. And if I could give you one thing, it's to contact Speaker Moyle. Let's get that graphic up there. The budgets that are sitting across, they've been read across the floor, which means they have bill numbers and they are on the reading calendars. We need to call Speaker Moyle and we need to encourage him. We need to back him. He wants to do the right thing. Okay. He wants to do the right thing and get these budgets before the House for an up or down vote. And they are on the reading calendar. These new budgets that are passing, which they hope to continue to pass on and onward and onward, is a we have the wrong number. We've been calling the wrong number. We're taking this from the from the legislative website. I mean, if we have a cell phone number, that might help too. But what we need to do is you need to go to the legislative website. Let's just pull up the website. and let people go directly there. Let's pull up the website. Here's the phone number, okay? Representative Mike Moyle, phone number, email is there, mmoyle@house.idaho.gov. You can also use, is it emailidaho.com? Is that one of the other ones? Emailidaho.com. There's his State House line when he's in session. Call them there. That's his email. Email Speaker Moyle there. Encourage him to do the right thing, to stand with conservatives, to stand with transparency. He does. I know he wants to do this process. But he's up against it because the swamp is kicking back, and the swamp would love nothing more than to replace Speaker Moyle and put in one of their guys. And all you have to do is look at the vote tally from JFAC this morning, and maybe there's some folks on JFAC that would love to run JFAC. So this is where the rubber meets the road, folks. This is it right here. This is the battle. This is the budgets. You know, the reason why budgets are so boring and the reason why they don't get all the flair like the library bill or abortion or any of that is because they make it difficult. They want it to be difficult. They don't want you to be excited about it. And look, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not too excited about this. But when I look at where the money gets spent, when I look at myself going to the grocery store and seeing the rise of inflation, when I go to my school board meetings and I hear that they're spending money on ridiculous line items like sending teachers across the state, across the country to train at these woke conferences, you're like, where is all this money coming from? Where is it going? Why is it happening? And we need accountability for this stuff. You know, you've got all this COVID money coming into our state. The federal government is sending out all this COVID money to the state, and the state is using all of this COVID money, all of your dollars to fund new pet projects, which when the money dries up, they're going to come back and say, well, we need to keep this project going, so we need more money from the general fund. It's a heist. We saw this yesterday with Medicaid reform. That a brilliant bill came before committee yesterday to help reform Medicaid in our state. And it was voted down by the same people, by the very same type of people who just want to grow government. They just want to take more and more of your money and grow it and get involved in your lives. It's bad, folks. It's really bad. Groundhog Day. What do we call it? Is the JFAC hijack, the Groundhog Day massacre? I mean, we can come up with a lot of hashtags for what happened today, but the Groundhog Day massacre is happening. So, all right. Yeah, we've got a few more minutes here to try and fill, but we might just end it by telling you that you got to call Speaker Moyle. You got to get behind him, and have this talk with him. Leave him a message. Leave him an email. Be kind. Be supportive. This is what it's all about. You know, this is what it's all about, is making sure that we support our legislators and getting them on board. So let's look at this chart one more time, just to kind of explain it all to where we're at. I want you to see this. Okay, this is an example. This is an example of the budget process. Okay, this is what Representative Wendy Horman, this is what Senator Scott Grow used or presented when they came up with this idea of separating the budgets. And in the far right side, you can see here the statewide maintenance. This again is like what it will take. This is the gas money for the car. All right. If the car is the Department of Administration, what will it take to get this thing to run? That is the right-hand column. The other two columns, and you can see at the top there, agency request and governor's request. Those are all of the extras for the car. Now, they could be vital things like we need a new engine, right? We need new tires, okay, because that happens. But there's also stuff in there for let's upgrade the stereo system, or let's buy some air fresheners. Let's pull out these cloth interior and put in leather, okay? Let's repaint the car, even though we just got a paint job last year, right? There's all these sorts of things on here. Instead of having one driver insured, let's have 25 drivers insured, or let's have them all drive at the same time, right? So I hope you're following the analogy here once again. So this is the process. The statewide maintenance budgets, those were passed. They came out of JFAC. Only the Democrats voted against it. All Republicans voted for the statewide maintenance budget bills. Those are what was passed 17 days ago and are waiting to be voted upon on the House and the Senate. Okay? The other two were the things that JFAC was going to negotiate. Do we need new tires? Should we put in a stereo system? Should we do all these different things? Okay? That is what everybody was expecting to start today with on these budgets. But instead, the swamp said, no. We've been working on our own time, delaying meetings and adjourning early so that we could sit back and hijack JFAC come February 2nd. And so these bills came up to be spoken of and to be voted upon and debated upon and worked on in JFAC, they said, no, we're just going to make a motion to include all of the gas money too. So that way we can make those other bills go away, and we will just present a shiny brand new car, with all the bells and whistles. This is what everybody has to vote on. And if you don't vote for it, then you're voting to not have the car at all. Right? I hope you're following with me. I do much better on analogies than I do with trying to explain exactly what's going on. We've had folks on all week last week that were explaining this, and this is how my brain works with these analogies. And they may not be right. You could probably pick them apart, but I think I've got the gist of it. So, okay. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope if you're watching us on X, everything's archived also on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Telegram. We do have a Telegram channel. So find us all there, Citizens Alliance, Idaho.org. And we have a link tree so you can go find all of the other places. This right here is idahosignal.com. That's where you can support us financially. You can get in touch with us, send us a message, and watch our opening montage there of all these great champions of liberty. Every show we open with our montage, our show opener, and you can watch that by itself there and share that around because it's awesome. So anyway, all right, folks, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday to see where the see how this dust settles, but I appreciate you joining us. We will see you next time.
This bill, I think, it puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.